What is going on, everyone? It is time to take a look at locations that are more attractive to redheads. Not locations that have more attractive redheads, just places that redheads are more suited to live. Why am I making this video? Well, since I added the thumbnail to my most secluded video that contained 2 redhead girls from a secluded town in Iowa, I've been flooded with questions about them and where they can be found, which is kind of weird and not telling you. I also got suggestions about doing a video about where you could find more redheads or the best places for redheads to live. At first, I sort of laughed it off. Then I Googled a couple things related to redheads, and boy was I shocked. There's lists, there's stories, web pages, Reddit group, Facebook groups, Twitter pages, YouTube channels, and even dating apps for redheads only. So yeah, it was kind of an eye-opener. Redheads are everywhere these days. Some became redheads and some are born that way. In other words, they became redheads because of a bottle of dye. Anyway, to make this video, I had to first figure out how I could incorporate redheads into a location video, which is the theme of this channel. In case you're here for the first time, we just do videos on locations. So I had to kind of tie it in because I didn't want to throw everyone off and just where are redheads at, or just a video about things you should know about redheads. No, it's about locations. So we decided that we would go with the best states for redheads, and oddly enough, there's a lot of information out there about redheads and where they should live. So how are we going to figure out the best states for redheads? Well, first of all, Facebook groups. How many Facebook groups and how many people from those Facebook groups are from which states? That's the first category. The fewest sunny days, because redheads don't like sunny days most of the time. They may enjoy them, it's just not good for their skin. I mean, sun's not terribly good for anyone's skin, but especially very pasty gingers. It's not good for them. I also even searched reported incidents on Kick a Ginger Day. That was this thing some years back that it was find a ginger and kick 'em day. It was kind of stupid and rude and people actually got kicked. But anyway, so I looked up things like that. That's our methodology. I know it's not very scientific and any science teacher or a statistician would probably cringe at me calling it a methodology, but that's what we're going with. So sit back and watch my top 10 best states for redheads. Number 10, Alaska. To start things off, let's look to a little town in Alaska for proof that it's a great state for redheads. Palmer, Alaska is home to the Redhead Express. This is a country music band made up of 4 redheaded sisters. Now, one did dye her hair blonde for a while there, but don't let that throw you. They're all gingers. Maybe that one just wanted to have more fun. Who knows? Now, I'm not a country music fan, but these girls are talented. When I learned about them, I started listening to them. They're immensely talented. I was impressed. Anyway, Alaska only had 13 reported assaults related to the Kick a Ginger Day. 100% of the congressional delegate leans ginger in Alaska. Even if a fair amount of the guy's hair is gray, we all know you're a ginger, Don Young. See, even gingers can represent a state. Alaska also has the 4th lowest number of sunny days of all the states. That's great for gingers. Number 9, Washington. Redheads make up only 2% of the US population, but 7% of Washington is living La Vida ginger. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it has something to do with the fact that they have the least amount of sunny days in all of the United States. Sun is not the ginger's friend. When your whole summer is just 3 months of sunburns, blotching, and peeling, you start looking for a place that doesn't have as much sun. Maybe that's why all those Twilight vampires lived in Washington. Remember that a couple years back, the Twilight movies? That was all Washington. They actually give tours to people of all those Washington Twilight locations. It's really weird. Filmed some of it here in Oregon, too. I know people that have been on those tours more than once. Weird. Anyway, maybe gingers are part vampire. Who knows? I mean, now that I think about it, I've never seen a ginger's reflection in a mirror and never seen one eat garlic, so who knows? Number 8, New York. Because New York winters are so harsh, people spend a good portion of their work week dreaming of being someplace warm. Maybe this is why New York leads the country in Google searches for warmer climate and living in the desert. They also lead the country in people searching for subway stations with the least amount of perverts, but that has nothing to do with gingers. Anyway, they also come in 5th in the least amount of sunny days in all of the United States. They also come in 3rd when it came to the states that searched for who played ginger on Gilligan's Island. Meanwhile, across the way there, New Jersey led the country in searches for Gilligan in a Speedo. Number 7, Oregon. Oregon is a great place for redheads, and it's kind of obvious if you've been following along. The first reason is, as you can imagine, the gloomy skies really play into their skin tone and the needs they have for that skin tone. And we also like to keep it weird. Most people, because of the rarity of redheads, consider them weird. Half my family has red hair, so I really don't consider them weird, but other people do. As proof of Portland's weirdness and Oregon's love for the ginger types, in 2013, over 1,600 redheads gathered in downtown Portland in an attempt to set the world record record for the most redheads assembled in one place. The last time this was attempted was during the filming of Braveheart with Mel Gibson. Not only that, Portland used to have Redheaded Tuesdays. All redheads get a free chocolate chip cookie at the Main Street Lobster Company in downtown. Now, I looked them up, and it looks like they've been shut down or they've moved or something like that, but they used to do it. Just shows you how Portland and the state of Oregon embraces the MC1R people. MC1R, of course, is the gene that is known as the ginger gene, which gives them that color of hair and freckles. Oregon is one of the most desired places for redheads. They're ranked with the 6th least amount of sunny days, and Portland has a great St. Patrick's Day, so all those things together makes Oregon one of the greatest places for redheads. Number 6, Vermont. No need to pull out the 5-gallon jug of sunscreen for a day at the lake in Vermont. This is because it's tied with Washington for the fewest days of completely clear skies per year with just 58. Just 58. That's not a lot of sunshine, people. No word on vampires. I didn't find anything on vampires. Anyway, really depressing weather. Luckily, they have millions of trees to look at, which makes you almost forget about the gloom. It really does. That's how it is here in Oregon. Just look at the trees. You quit looking up for beauty. You look straight ahead, and you find trees. Vermont is also the capital of maple syrup, and according to the website How to Be a Redhead, maple syrup makes a great hair mask for redheads. Microwave 3 tablespoons of pure maple syrup for 15 seconds. Let it cool. Apply mixture to hair. Let it sit for 20 minutes. Rinse and shampoo, and go out and be fantastic. Vermont also comes in second with the most businesses with the words redhead in the name. That's kind of cool. Number 5, North Dakota. In North Dakota, you don't have to look too hard to find redheads. They're third in the country with the most redheads per capita. There isn't a lot of people there, so it's probably not terribly hard to pull off, but let's just say they have their fair share. North Dakota is even a great place for redheaded ducks. Look at that guy. It's amazing. A redheaded duck, and he lives in North Dakota. At least parts of the year. North Dakota also has really harsh winters and very little sunshine a good portion of the year. So, again, it's easier for redheads to live there. Gingers like gloomy skies, I'm telling you. They even have redheads in their history in this state. Throughout the second half of the 19th century and into the early 20th century, North Dakota experienced a mass influx of newcomers from Europe. North Dakota was a popular destination for immigrant farmers and general laborers and their families, mostly from Norway, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. Places like that are known for their gingers. So they brought a lot with them. Generations later, a lot of those families are still there. So if you're a redhead and you move to North Dakota, you'll fit right in and you won't be alone. Number 4, Indiana. Indiana is a state with a lot of famous gingers. Larry Bird, David Letterman, and Axl Rose, just to name a few. Now, they get a few more sunny days than the average ginger likes to see. Indiana is actually ranked 12th in the nation. On a personal note, I had a friend in the Army that was an African-American guy from Gary, Indiana, with red hair. Now, I say was, as he passed away some years back. Anyway, he said his high school, there was a whole bunch of them. All the other black guys kind of said, no, they maybe had 1 or 2 in the whole school. He said he started naming them off, and I want to say at least he named off 20 people, African-American, with red hair. So they all came to the conclusion, I was just sitting in and listening to them all talk, that was an anomaly. But he said no, he thinks other schools in Indiana were that way too. Anyway, North Dakota may have redhead ducks, but apparently Indiana has Woody Woodpecker. Look at that guy. Indiana is also ranked 4th for the amount of people that liked the Facebook post, Famous Redheads. I found that online. I thought that was really interesting. Indiana is ranked 4th in the most gingers per capita. Number 3, Ohio. In 2010, the largest gathering of redheads, at the time, in North America occurred in Dublin, Ohio. Over 2,500 redheads attended this annual event. Now, I brought up there was another gathering in Portland, Oregon. That one only had 1,600. They failed at their attempt by like 900 people. 900 redheads, to be exact. For proof of redhead love in Ohio, in 2013, both Ohio professional football teams, the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, had starting quarterbacks with red hair. Brandon Weeden and Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is still with the Bengals, and like most ex-Browns quarterbacks, Weeden, I think, is selling cars. Anyway, here's a strange fact. Ohio has produced 7 presidents. Of those 7, 5 of them were redheads. That's kind of interesting. Now, that's not as strange a fact when you consider the odds. I mean, the place was pretty much founded, or settled, I should say, by Germans, Irish, and English. Those are normally the races that have the largest percentage of redheads, or gingers, however you want to call them. Number 2, Kentucky. Kentucky is loaded to the brim with redheads. A few of the famous ones are the musical types. Loretta Lynn, who's a legendary country singer, and also pretty much legendary, the Judds, Naomi and Winona. I think it's Winona. I've been saying that name for years when it comes up, which is, I don't know, probably every 5 or 10 years. And don't say it that much, but when I do, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Winona is what I'm going with. Now, if you know the history of Kentucky, you can see how it makes sense to have so many gingers in one place. Americans of Scottish, Irish, and English blood run throughout Kentucky. Many residents of Irish ancestry claim Scottish as well because of the Scot-Irish intermingling among their ancestors back in the day. I guess I didn't have to say back in the day. I think the word ancestors kind of tells you I'm speaking, way back when. But okay, that's what I said. We'll move on. This state's ancestry can be tasted in the alcohol they distill and heard in the bluegrass music they're known for. If you listen to Kentucky bluegrass music on Spotify and then switch your Spotify over to some Scottish or Irish folk music, you can hear the similarities. Plain as day. Kentucky is ranked 16th of the least amount of sunny days. Now, that's not very high on the list. They still get a lot of sunny days. But the good news is this state has plenty of trees that can shade all those gingers. And number 1, West Virginia. Like their neighbor Kentucky, West Virginia has the same Scottish, Irish, English makeup and history. It easily has the most gingers of all the states. So if you're a ginger and you want to be amongst your own people, head to West Virginia. If you need any proof of the ancestry of West Virginia, look at the names of all the towns. Huntington, Morgantown, Beckley, Williamson, Buchanan, and even the state capital of Charleston. That's just a few. The whole state is like this. And those are real names of West Virginian towns. Those aren't like last names of characters on the new blue-collar middle-class version of Downton Abbey. Those are real names of real cities. Everything that I said about Kentucky, number 2, the whole makeup of the whole racial and ancestral makeup of the people of Kentucky, it's doubled for West Virginia. The Mountain State is Kentucky on steroids when it comes to Scottish, Irish ancestry, and English too. West Virginia has the 3rd least sunny days in the entire country, which, like I've said before, is perfect for gingers. West Virginia is also home to my favorite redhead, Maya Ross. She's the morning DJ for WTSQ out of Charleston. You can hear her on the internet if you're not in Charleston. She also has bats that live in her building. She's very proud of those bats. Maybe it's a West Virginia thing. If I had bats in my building, I would move. I wonder if her lease agreement said no pets, bats are okay. Who knows? That's just how they do it in West Virginia. It's kind of weird. That's okay. I still like the city. Alright, so that's my top 10 best states for redheads. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now, before you do, stop typing. I got all this information off the internet and other websites and stuff like that. I wasn't out doing some redhead field study or something like that. So please, all those of you who sometimes say things like, oh, you just got your stats off the internet. No kidding. That's where everyone gets their stats these days, unless they're professionally doing research for a living. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Everybody have a great day. Don't forget all the links below. Don't forget to subscribe. Be nice to each other.